Today's video is about hypothermia. How to prevent hypothermia while you are out hunting and fishing. As a woodsman of 49 years, this has been one of the biggies to everything that I do. 90% of what I do is alone, so I have to recognize hypothermia and I also have to prevent it. So I have 4 tips on preventing hypothermia. Tip number 1 on hypothermia is just plain stay dry. The clothes that you have on your back are your best prevention to preventing hypothermia. Whether it is 22 below or 40 below or 50 degrees, water temperature, stuff like that. Keep your clothes dry. Keep from sweating. Pay attention to sweating. If you notice yourself sweating, stop. Relax. Sit on a stump. Do whatever it takes to get your body core temperature down. Take off some layers. If it's a sunny day, take off the layers so that your body will regulate down and you will not sweat. You do not want to sweat. Avoid water. Avoid crossing streams. Anything like that that you risk the getting wet. It's not worth the gamble. Go around. Stay dry. So that is tip number 1. Stay dry and protect your clothing. Tip number 2, if you do get wet, is seek shelter. Seek some kind of shelter. Preferably something that is a windbreak. That could be a big blowdown. That could be a huge stump. Anything, a rock face. Anything, a valley in between, like a bowl that blocks the wind. If you get behind a hill, that's a perfect windbreak. Anything that will block the wind, especially if you get wet, because between the wind and the wet, it will your body temperature will just plummet, and there's not much that you can do to turn that around. So get as dry as possible, as fast as possible is my recommendation for this, for hypothermia and preventing it. Tip number 3, if you have dry clothes with you in your day pack, that's the time to put your dry clothes on. Get out of the wet clothes, get into your dry clothes as quickly as possible, and that will slow down your body temperature from just plummeting because of being exposed to the outside elements. Tip number 4. And tip number 4 is build a fire. You would think building a fire would be the first thing that you would do. But it's not. It's tip number 4 for a reason. The biggest reason is you don't want to be gathering fire. If you don't have dry clothes or something like that, then it's perfectly fine to start building yourself a fire. But if you do have dry clothes with you, then that's the time to change your clothes, get into your dry ones, and then start building your fire. You don't want to be gathering firewood and getting a fire built while you are soaking wet. That's just going to make the job harder. It's going to make you colder by the time you get the fire built. So that's why I placed building a fire as tip number 4. That probably goes against everything that you've heard and been taught and all that. But I think tip number 4 is probably the one that will save your life if you do it in that order. I hope this helps you with preventing hypothermia, and I will see you on the next video.